Why would she want any other man? Episode 11. Why would she want any other man? Mommy. Dev looked at Shivi's departing and whispered, "Where's Daddy go, ing?" Mitali touched his head. She felt conflicted. He seemed certain that this man was his father, and no matter what she said, she couldn't change his mind. She smiled helplessly and was about to remind him again that that wasn't his dad, but when she raised her head she saw Kiali walking slowly toward her. "What are you doing here?" Her expression immediately darkened, and she spoke with a tone that was not cold but also could not be described as indifferent. Kiali immediately played innocent and lightly tugged her arm. "I don't need a reason. I was just afraid that my sister was bored and so I came over to chat." Why was she suddenly acting so kind? She'd been angry a few moments back, and now she was showing such kindness. "Mitali, you don't know this, but I actually used to envy you." Saying that Mitali wasn't paying attention to her, Kiali pouted and continued sadly, "Ever since I was young, Dad was always with you, while Mom and I lived in that rented apartment. I was really envious of you. I wanted to snatch Dad and Rohan away from you." Mitali found it funny that she spoke as if she had been wronged but didn't know who was Satan to fall from her eyes. "But he caught you cheating. You broke his heart first. How can you still?" She did not finish her sentence, but she had already said enough to put all the blame on Mitali. The surrounding guests looked at the stunned Mitali, who felt her head buzzing and her temples throbbing. Seeing Kiali kneeling on the ground in a very sorry state, Rohan squeezed through the crowd, pulled her into his arms, and roared fiercely, "Mitali, why are you like this?" Even Tom leaned towards her and reprimanded her. "How could I have a daughter with such a vicious heart?" The endless scolding made her head spin. She put Dev down, afraid that she would drop him. "You nasty woman!" Dev shouted at Kiali, who was still on the ground. "You're lying." Mitali felt unbearable pain in her chest. She tried her best to support herself, but her vision went dark again. Losing her balance, she fell backward. But instead of hitting the cold tiled floor, she fell into a warm embrace. Shivi caught her tightly in his arms and looked up at Kiali with a cold gaze as she was helped to her feet. Seeing his stare, Kiali parohaned and started to act pitifully. With a weak voice, she said, "Mr. Clare, don't blame me. My sister grew up with Rohan, after all. They grew up together." Shivi sneered and turned to look at Rohan with a hint of ridicule in his voice, still talking to Kiali. "Your sister had a bad taste in the past, but that's over now. With me here, why would she want any other man?" He did not react to Kiali's stupefied expression. Instead, he picked up Dev with one arm and hugged the unconscious Mitali close to him.